it's Tim, Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk, joined with the 501 of the world, Jill Simonello, who's here, which, by the way, we're a few minutes late because I told Jill, I said, live in 4 minutes. She goes, is that how a clock works, question mark. This is the stuff I get. This is I'm just telling you, pouring my heart out to you guys. This is the stuff I get. Yeah. Oh, Tyler, who I'm Tyler. Tyler is a big fan of live streams. He was after me a little bit in the comments. He says, "Side note: the thumbnail background is cool, but the trucks are a little old news now." All right. For 2025, God, Jesus Christ, 2025. I vow to update our thumbnail screen. Okay. And people think that Consumer Reports whacked you. So just so you know, the Consumer Reports whacked you. The Consumer Reports Mafia or F you.
I was trying new headphones, and I don't know. I hopefully the sound. Tim says I sound underwater, so sorry.
Well, you're a little toned down, so that's actually not a bad. Anyways, moving along to the topics at hand tonight.
We haven't done you off, but I'm like, I know what the thumbnail is going to be, so I'm not going to do it.
I should tell people we haven't done a live stream for a while, and it's all my fault. Behind the scenes, Jill and I do enjoy these live streams. We do, and this is like one of the. This may surprise people, but this is one of the few times a week that Jill and I actually see each other in person. Yeah. We do a lot of messaging back and forth, and that kind of deal. We don't actually talk in person, and I have been reluctant to do live streams because the last couple of live streams have made $5. And it's a little hard to not have family time. Like they're all outside. They're all sitting at the table right now eating and talking and stuff, not to have family time when it's like $5. By the way, the question in the room is going to be, when does my RHO arrive? Good idea and question. Yeah, I have no idea. It's on. But my theory is it's on a rail car right now going across the Indiana border down through Arkansas on its way to Houston. So apparently it goes to Houston, and then they use the small transport trucks to get dealerships from Houston. So, yeah, that's when it arrives, which it's coming. So, but I thought we'd end the year off of 2024 with the top trucks we drove all year, trucks and SUVs. So I've asked Jill to create a list. Did she create the list?
Yeah, I did create a list. And
I have a list.
I even added extras on the bottom because I figured you and I would probably overlap. And so we wanted to make sure we had 10. Okay,
so we're saying top 10, but could be more like top 25. It's fine. So I thought about it.
I'm not going to go more than 10. I just added a few extra because I figured there's probably going to be at least 2 where you and I will overlap.
Yes, Fossil. So you get to fly to Louisiana during the crazy holidays travel. Yes. Every year, it seems like I buy a new truck when it's the last part of the year, like last day. Yeah, the good news is I can still buy it because it's in transit. Theoretically, I can still buy it. I don't like that. I like to be in person when I buy the truck. So, anyways, that's enough. RHO. If you first time on the podcast, first time live stream, first time whatever. I'm buying an RHO this year, and it's the last day of the year I'm going to get it. And then I'm working with Expel right now to do wrap and stuff. So, trust me, on my inbox is just too full. All right, but let's get back to topic hand. The top 5. So, top 10 trucks and SUVs that Jill and I have driven this year, because this is a good discussion point between us. I thought we'd go kind of back and forth. Okay. So I've written down my top. So should I go first? You should go first. What do you want? Ladies first?
You go first.
Okay. So I'm number 5 on my list. So I'm going to do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to do the.
I'm not going to do backwards. I'm going to do frontwards.
You can do frontwards?
Yeah, because the 3 that I have extra are like my last.
Okay. So I guess we'll go front. We'll go top 5 down to top 10. Top 1 to top 10. Okay. My top truck and SUV I drove this year. It's probably not going to be a surprise. It's going to be the RHO. That thing is
That was my number 1 too.
It's really freaking good, Jill.
Yeah, it
is. It's like, I know people are like, it's not a TRX. It doesn't have the sound. I totally get it, but on road, it's silky smooth. And that Hurricane, it's going to be a pain in the butt when I fill it up because it gets like 15 miles per gallon, which is actually better than TRX, by the way. It's going to suck because of premium fuel as well as TRX, but Man, is it good? And you drove it off road. You have so much more off road experience than I do. And you drove it off road and you rode it off road. You killed me on that one, but it's so good.
It really is. And it's funny because I thought it was good, and then we did the media drive, and I was like, no, this is better than what I thought it was, because I spent 10 days in the desert in this truck. It did not overheat. The air filters did not get dust in them. And believe me, I've never been dirtier in my life during the 8 days I spent during the Rebelle. I mean, it was so dusty and the silt was just so fine. Like, I was so surprised that we did not have to whack out our air filters or change them or anything, but we didn't. And the massaging seats at the end of the day were amazing. And we had enough space that we could carry a cooler this year, which was awesome. So we'd be rolling across the finish line in our like massaging seats with a chilled drink. That was great. And
Yeah.
and it took a beating, and it was 8 days of like over 10 hours, 8 days. So 80 hours of just
Yeah.
beating the SHIT out of this truck. And it did so well. We did have a flat tire at the end, but other than that, like, we didn't break or hurt anything. Then we went off road during the Ram program and jumped it. And I like immediately text my partner, Kristen Shaw, when I came off the first loop of going off road. And I was like, oh, we totally could have pushed this so much harder.
I know Ram takes a lot of crap in the comments about being reliability, and they've had some issues in the past for sure. There's no argument there, but their new lineup of trucks are really good, and they beat the snot out of these things. And Jill beats them up. I beat them up, and they do really well. Are there going to be issues with new RHO? Yeah, we're gonna lose a turbo here and there. We're gonna have a repair here and there. The odds are gonna have it, but I'm super excited for it. I am actually really excited. I'm buying United States. I don't know if you saw this, Jill, but this is the Canadian pricing for the Ram RHO. I'm going to zoom in because I know it's kind of hard to see.
I'm like, whoa!
But let me zoom in. Let me see if I can't. Where's my bars here? I'm gonna scroll over. So I want you to focus on the total price.
Yeah.
$138,706 in Canadian money.
And
it turns out to be 96,000 in US dollars.
Yeah.
But here's the crazy part. I have this window pull up because I want to see your face. You can finance for $391 per week, weekly payment, at 5.49% for 96 months with $7,300 in RAM discounts from dealer. Or you can lease it for $375 per week at 8.69%.
At first I was like, monthly, that's not bad. But I'm like, weekly? They do weekly financing.
Yeah, weekly financing. $400 a week.
Yeah, no, I don't got that.
That's actually, somebody sent it to me. It's actually the same truck I'm buying with the RHO level 1 equipment group and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, and then what destination fee? I was gonna look at destination fee is almost $3,000.
Yeah, and then that luxury tax surcharge, like, that's crazy. What the hell is that?
That's a mandatory surcharge, everything over $100,000 in Canada.
Move.
Mandatory.
Wow.
So yeah, I just Ram Rider. I live in Canada, and it sucks how much of a price difference there is. Stupid, actually. So somebody challenged me on Facebook. I put this out there, and like, well, that's only $96,000 American, and the normal price $84,000. I'm like, no, $84,000 for mine plus $11,000 off, 73. 96 versus 73. That's a big difference. I'm not great at math, but 25%, kind of my throw it out number would be my guess. Yeah, I don't know. That's a lot of money. Link says I get on board with the RHO for about 55,000. Yeah, good luck. I'm not trying to be a jerk, Link, but I've seen a comment elsewhere, and you can't even buy a loaded up Bighorn 55,000. It's just it's not the marketplace right now. So it's the RHO. I get it that people are like, oh, it's overpriced. It's basically a TRX without the supercharged V8. Is what it is. and it's $30,000 less than the TRX that finished up the pricing.
Yeah.
Initially, TRX was cheaper, but as you got done, it was towards the end. Yeah. Oh yeah, and Rick Vic Smith says if you buy this year, there's $1,000 rebate. Yeah, 138,000 minus 1,000. Woohoo! Super excited. Okay, that's my one. Jill's her number one, so I'll give them on my list. Number two, and I said I have a very strong video on this. I actually, I don't know about you, Jill, but I had to go back into our YouTube videos and like spend like a good 20 minutes cycling through stuff to kind of remind myself when I drove this year.
Okay.
370 some videos on YouTube channel and the reviews and things. It took me a hot minute. I know you have spreadsheets because you're a spreadsheet queen, and you did Nat Toy voice voting based on spreadsheets. But I have number two.
Okay.
Ford Ranger Raptor.
Okay.
I just think for $55,000, you get that Ranger, you get the Raptor kind of feel to it. It's a good truck for me to get out of. It's usable bed space. It looks really cool, and that green, the shelter green exterior color, it just nails it for me. So I just think and the only thing I thought was weird with that truck is that no was it heated or cooled seats? One of the two. It didn't have heated or cooled seats.
It's got to be cooled seats. Everything has heated seats.
Yeah, it was cooled seats, which I thought was weird with a rally kind of truck like it would be in a desert. But overall, for the price point, for what you got from it, how cool it looked, for the graphics and things, $55,000 Ranger Raptor. It thing ripped. It's got with a 3-liter V6 in it. It's just it's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. I just everything about it. I just loved everything about it. And I might have the powertrain wrong. I apologize if I have the powertrain wrong, but I think I do have it right. But yeah, that thing is just it's just cool. It's just cool.
And
Yeah.
I will say I really liked it. But I just to me Ford had not that I don't want to say quality issues, but they just like the materials to me just feel a little cheap.
Yeah, I can see that.
It looks good. That is for sure.
Yeah, so that's my number two. So Jill, what is your number two?
My number two is actually the Toyota Tacoma.
Okay.
I really, really liked the Tacoma. I liked how it drove, and I remember when I had it, I had a like a pretty blue one, when I was driving it in Chicago, and I drove it to Indianapolis. I have a road trip video, and I just remember thinking, this not that it drives like a car, but it was very maneuverable for a truck, and the engine I thought was really good, and it just like it just was so I thought it was just so much fun to drive, and it didn't to me like a lot of times trucks feel like they're loping, like they lumber and they're just kind of like do 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 do, and they
Right.
just feel like big and living in a city like I do, I have to do a lot of quick maneuvers. I have to parallel park. I have to back into my garage. I have little tiny like parking spaces that I have to get into. And that Tacoma for me, I was just like, this is a truck I could live with.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't say like a Ford 1-ton dually 8-foot Ford.
Well, I don't think it was this year, but I feel like it was last year. I had that GMC Sierra 2500, and that was a nice truck, and I even managed to kind of get it into my garage, but the nose, like, even backing it all the way up until I was, like, this far from the back of my garage, the nose still stuck out over the end. There was gonna be no way I could open the door into my garage. There was gonna be no way I could shut the garage door. And but I liked that truck. I not when I could live within the city, but I liked it. So, Toyota Tacoma was my number 2.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Jill's Fitting in the Garage series, that's part of her Instagram and TikTok and stuff, and also on our YouTube channel, we shared stuff over there. It's quite hilarious. And yes, Jill, for the record, one more time, tell the audience you do share a garage with your neighbor.
I share a garage with my neighbor. So I
Okay.
live in a city, and I'm trying to remember of having a garage space that I didn't share with somebody else. And so you're very dependent. Like, even if you're parking like in an underground garage or whatever, you're still sharing a garage. You're still going to be parking next to somebody else. And so you are very dependent upon how the other person parks. And the person in my neighborhood that parks next to me, they have a Hyundai, like Santa Fe, an older Hyundai Santa Fe. And there's two people that drive that car, and I can tell which one drove it by how they park in the garage, because one parks as far over next to the wall as possible to give, as much space to both of us to get in and out of our vehicles. And the other one parks right on the line.
So, yes, I'm just making. So it is the number one response to anytime Jill posts a video of her parking in the garage, living in the city. People's minds are blown about the fact that she shares a garage space. So she does.
Yes.
Just we're all clear.
And I mean, if I owned my own house and I had a 2-car garage, I'd be sharing the space with my husband, who would probably park a little bit better than my neighbors. But I would still be sharing a garage.
Ooh, a top question from Aloe. Have you ever had an accident parking?
I have not.
Okay, there you go. People want to know. So
and so far nobody has hit me, so at least that I know of. But I see some people hating on my Tacoma choice.
yeah. People hate everything this new. All right, my number 3. So I'm going. So you did one. We did one together. We both did 2. My number 3 is going to be the Chevy Tahoe.
Okay, and I haven't driven that.
In the Duramax diesel with the Z71. In that, they've improved the seats.
Okay.
Oh, good Lord. That was the worst part about those vehicles. And they've done, I'm not going to say the seats are perfect, but they're wider. They have more padding, much better. My sons and I drove that in Texas. They did a family trip, and we drove the heck out of that thing. And I just love that vehicle. Now, I mean, if I need more space, I do Suburban, but for me, Tahoe is just perfect. And so I was a big fan of that. Big fan of the fixed mistake. They put the Duramax diesel in there. I like new LZ0 Duramax diesel. I've talked a lot about that as well. And I thought it was really good. I thought it was really well done. And now, so as you're on NACTOY, which is North American Car and Truck of the Year Awards, so you have to. Are you going to have to drive this, or is it up for voting?
No, it's not up for voting because it was just a refresh. We didn't deem it to be significant enough.
Yeah, it wasn't really. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, then that's the same reason why the Ford Explorer wasn't on the list, is because it was just a refresh, so we didn't deem it significant enough.
Okay, yeah. If you haven't seen the new, it is a refresh. Jill's completely right at being a refresh. There's not a lot that's new. I want to say the infotainment system changed because the interior dash got changed dramatically, which it should have been from start. They blew that, and they blew the fact Duramax diesel couldn't been Z71. So they fixed those 2 issues, and the fuel economy, and I just like it. It just, I don't know, it's just something really about that Chevy Tahoe that I really like this year. And this was going back again. I scrolled through a bunch of videos we put out, tons of stuff. So that's my number 3. So Jill, what is your number 3? I feel like we're playing like Go Fish here.
I know. And then, what do you say? What do you say? Go fish. My number 3, our number 4 is the Volkswagen ID Buzz.
Oh yes. So Jill has a video I need to edit. I haven't got to that, but the VW ID Buzz is the return of the I don't want to call it a wagon. I want to call it a bus. The VW bus, the Westphalia, those type of area of stuff, fully electric. And there was a lot of people liked it just because it's unique, it's different, and it's a throwback in a way, but also electric powertrain. But I think what's interesting with that was you were talking about how much you got waved at in Chicago.
I mean, literally everywhere I went, people were like, they just, everybody wanted to like wave at me and like say hi. And I mean, it was just, I got so many looks, and it was certainly the only ID Buzz in Chicago at the time that I had it. And I know that there is like certainly some kickback on the price and on the range, because you're looking at, I want to say it's like 240 miles of range. And then base price is $60,000, and people are like, me, $60,000, that's a lot for a minivan. And it's like, okay, if you would comparably equip a Pacifica hybrid, plug-in hybrid, or the Toyota Sienna hybrid, the prices aren't that far off. And if you look at three-row SUVs that are electric, so the Kia EV9, um, and the Rivian R1S, and you look at other vehicles that are three-row SUVs, and they're electric, like, this is pretty comparably priced. I think the price is certainly tough to swallow just because it's an electric vehicle and it's high. But when you look at vehicles that are comparably equipped, I don't think the price is off the mark. The biggest complaint you're going to hear is going to be about the range. And when you talk to Volkswagen, so we had Mark Gillies on the podcast that I do with Tom Appel, Car Stuff. And so if you want more of a deep dive on the ID Buzz, definitely go listen to that episode. But he was saying that the people who drive this vehicle, it's going to be more of the people who are doing carpool, the people, it's going to be more of a family vehicle. It is not going to be your road trip vehicle, which is, I mean, in some ways kind of defeats the purpose because the old VW bus was the road tripper. But I saw his point and I understood what he was trying to say. And the idea that, this is the car that you're running errands in. This is the car that you're going to the grocery store in. This is the car that you're running around town. And when you come home and you plug it in, like, it has plenty of range. So
Yeah, no, I don't think this is a road. I know the prior generation is a road trip vehicle, but I don't think this is. I think I'd absolutely agree. To me, this is a lifestyle vehicle. It's something you drive around and you have a good time with. And Fluffy has a bunch of these. Do you know the comedian Gabriel Iglesias?
I do
Okay,
not.
so Gabriel Iglesias is also known as Fluffy. He's a big man and he plays it up. He's freaking hilarious. My kids and I love him. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna force you to watch him, but he is really hilarious and he has some really funny stories. But he has a massive VW bus compound collection. He's got over 80 of these VW buses, and you can see pictures of them. I'm scrolling through on the Google Images, and he bought one because he's just a massive fan. He's been on Jay Leno's Garage. He's a big time comedian, and so it's just that to me is about the VW buzz, the ID buzz, excuse me, is it's got that cool factor. Like celebrities want to buy it, people want to be seen in it. It's not something you think about like, oh well, it's got just ROI as far as price and fuel economy and range go out the window on that thing. It's
Yeah.
about the coolness of it. It's about having something that's fun, that's different, and the ID Buzz, for better or worse, is a very different vehicle, and that's fine.
Yeah.
There are some questions. Gene wants to know, what do you think of the dash design? I haven't seen your video yet, so I'm not sure if you talked about that.
I mean, I think I do. I didn't mind the dash design, and I have to admit, I'm getting used to the Volkswagen infotainment system.
Mm,
Um, at first I didn't like it, but the more I'm around the Volkswagen infotainment system, the more sense it makes, and I think it's a really good integration of Apple CarPlay as well, because I I'm sick of Apple CarPlay when you have to hit an icon on the dash, on in Apple CarPlay to go back to the native system. Like, I want Apple CarPlay to be better integrated with the vehicle's native system. And I think Volkswagen did a really good job of integrating the Apple CarPlay features with the native system features. And you could be like scrolling through your home screen and there's your podcast right there that's in Apple CarPlay, and you can click on that, and then you click on the home screen and you go back to your native stuff. So I thought that was really well done. I see some Dave asked me how it was looking over the steering wheel. It doesn't have as high a belt line as you think. It feels to
yeah.
me a little bit lower. And I had
I'm
really
pulling
good
up photos. I
visibility.
don't know that everybody knows what the ID Buzz is. I'm just pulling some photos on the screen. Excuse me.
Okay. Yeah, so I had really good visibility out of all of the windows. The weirdest thing for me was um the fact that your front end is like this big compared to like having a very long hood line. And so it was a little bit of a mind adjustment. Like when you're rounding a corner, like you want to round the corner at the like B pillar, and if you round the corner at the B pillar, you're like you're gonna like cut off the back half of your vehicle. And so that to me was like a little bit of a like a mental adjustment that I needed to do. Like the first time I was trying to get out of my alley, I was just like, "Ooh, I need to back that up a second." Because it's just a different, feel
Right.
in terms of how it drives and how you're maneuvering the vehicle. But I don't know. I liked it for the kitsch factor, and I took it over to a friend's house, and they are a house of tall people, and they have large sheepdogs, like old English sheepdogs, like they are just. And so it was my friend, her husband, their nephew, and my friend is like 5'11", her husband is 6'4",
Oh,
the nephew is
Jesus.
6'4", her brother, I want to say, is like 6'1" or 6'2". They all had to come over and look at this vehicle, and they were able to put like a 6'4" person behind a 6'4" person behind a 6'4" person. And I don't know that I've ever seen that in a three-row vehicle. Again, shorty here. So, like me behind me, like I have like lounge like room, but 6'4" behind 6'4" behind 6'4", like all people could sit in the third row and have plenty of room. And so that to me was really impressive, because I think even in minivans, like it's tough to adjust, the first seat behind the second seat behind the third seat to have enough room in all of those seating positions for 12 people. So that I thought was really impressive.
I think that's what made the VW bus such a big hit in the years past too. Is it just you had a lot of room, like the utility aspect of that vehicle was so massive.
Oh, and by the way, Gene, there is a TikTok of my friend as he's getting into the third row. So if that's what you're commenting on, like the tall person. And I did put a picture of him in my stories. I'm trying to think if I put it in. I don't have. I think I'm waiting for the video to post from Tim
Yeah,
before I post my Instagram and Facebook stuff. So
I've
yeah.
been. There's some. The year is ending, and there is some legislation coming through. There are things happening that I have to prioritize at the moment. I'm
Me,
sorry.
me, 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 me.
There's a lot going on, politics wise. So
Meanwhile, he's had this video for like a month and it's still sitting in a folder. I'm just gonna put that out there.
okay. So I'm gonna recap here. We went 1 one B with RHO.
Yeah.
Did you come back with Tacoma, or did I come back with Ranger Raptor?
You came back with Ranger Raptor.
So Ranger Raptor's 2, Tacoma for you is 3. I
Hmm.
said Tahoe for 4. We did ID Buzz for 5.
Well, but I mean, I guess what I'm counting is I'm like Ram is 1.
Yep.
I would say your Ford Ranger is going to be 2,
Right. Yeah, I think that's how it worked out. Then
and then I feel like you went, and then my the Tacoma was 3. I'd say Tahoe was 4, and then the ID Buzz was 5.
right. So I'm on number 6 then.
Yes.
Yeah. 6, then 7 to you, then yeah. So 6 for me. And I just had this conversation the other day with a guy at the bar, because the best stories I have happened at the bar. Watching Detroit Lions, go Lions! Although they got beat by the Buffalo Bills. I have no Sunday ticket. Had to go to the bar here in town, at the bar in town with Chili's of all places. But anyways, I talked to this guy who actually owned one. I happened to look at it outside yet again. Ford F-150 Tremor.
Okay.
I don't care what engine you put in that thing, although I do love the power boost and I love the power on board. We're talking about that quite a bit as well. He said, yeah, he goes, a lot of oil guys he works with, or he's an energy field, so a lot of energy field people work with had the power boost, because the 7.2 kilowatts on board, its own lighting, don't care about fuel economy. It doesn't matter. It's about the utility of the vehicle. And I love the orange accents of the Tremor, and it's still this day one of my favorite trucks out there. Now I know the Tremor doesn't come with, I don't think it comes with a power boost or something like that. I like the Ford F-150 Tremor. I think they did a good job with that. I think it's great that the Explorer is no, it was Explorer Expedition switching from Timberline to Tremor. I think Tremor name is a good name for Ford. I just think they've done everything right with that. Yeah, the Tremors do look sharp, as Link says. F-150, 250. I think it's just perfect. I just think the Tremor It's not the Raptor. Doesn't need to be a Raptor. It's not pretending to be a Raptor. It's not the FX4 package. Nobody knows the hell that means. It just has a cool name, and I think marketing does have a place in automotive. I think people get excited about Tremor. I think they get excited about the name, and they like the idea of them driving a Tremor. I think the Raptor sells so well. I think TRX sold well. RHO sold well. I think people like that stuff, and I think that's something GM and Toyota can take. TRD Pro, Z71, but I think more
Right.
longer names.
Oh,
Yeah,
happy.
yeah, yeah. It's just give me a better name.
Yeah.
I like the way it drives, road trips, even the off road tires. I think it's just a great truck, and big fan of that one. So that's gonna be my number. That's gonna be number 6 is Tremor.
Okay.
So Jill to number 7.
All right. I'm going back to the SUV realm.
Yep.
I'm going back to the EV realm. And I know my choices are not going to be the popular choices here, but I really liked the Volvo EX90. And that is the new all-electric 3-row SUV from Volvo. It's kind of like the fraternal twin, maybe you could say, of the EX90, the gasoline model. I really liked the I liked how it drove. I liked the power. I like the fact that it doesn't look weird. I liked the safety. One of the things that Volvo has really been on the forefront of in their vehicles is safety tech. And one of the things that they're really starting to implement with their vehicles is safety that is not obtrusive. I don't know about you, but I am really effing sick of like all of that and the automatic brakes, like when you're trying to like maneuver and back it. Like I'm driving the Kia Telluride right now, and I'm trying to back into my garage. And I'm like this far from my garage, and the vehicle slams on its brakes, and I'm like, oh my god, what did I hit? you know? And I hit nothing. I did not hit anything. It was just the automatic brakes in play because the vehicle thought it knew better than me. And so I just get really ticked off with all of these safety systems that make you want to turn them off. And Volvo, and kind of like a contrast to that, has really implemented safety systems that like watch what the driver is doing. And if they see that you're paying attention and you're making a maneuver that's maybe a little bit tighter than the car would think you should do, it's not going to intervene because it understands that you're in control. And so it's going to only intervene at the very last minute if it's just like, oh no, you've just completely lost, you've lost it. And so I've never had a Volvo safety system like kick in on me because it thinks I'm not like paying attention or doing my job. Like Subaru, Kia, um, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, like all of those systems, like I go in and I turn them off because they drive me crazy. With their automatic braking and beeping and and it just and so one of the reasons I
You're
know
like,
I've got all of the sound effects and special movements for tonight,
yeah.
but but no, I in addition to really liking the Volvo EX90 and their new power, the powertrains. Obviously, it's an electric car, and the new infotainment system, the Google built-in. I like the safety technology that's also there. So
Yeah. And by the way, to answer those comments on YouTube, no, Jill cannot talk without moving her hands. Just so you know, she cannot sit on her hands. She can't. She has to use her hands. So that's what's going to happen. But no, Jill brings a good point with the Volvo EX90. When I saw her video too, and I've been in the Volvos over the years. Volvo, I didn't grow up with them as a brand. It's not something people ever talked about. In Michigan, if you had a Volvo, like you were the odd person in the neighborhood. You were the weirdo.
yeah,
So I've actually spent more time in this job driving Volvos than I have in years past. And overall, they're really good. And so it's going to be something that's going to happen as far as moving forward. You'll see Volvos keep winning awards and things because they're very safety focused. I really want to try out their large animal detection feature.
mm,
So apparently in Volvo vehicles, they allow you as you're driving along, they will pick out like deer or like elk coming through the woods, whatever. And I've been really curious about testing it out. I just had never had a chance to. It doesn't line up well. Volvo doesn't really give me a lot of vehicles because they have Jill. Jill's a lot easier to get vehicles to. So that's how things work
Because I
out.
live in Chicago.
Yeah, so it's a
I
lot
have a
cheaper.
bigger fleet.
It's cheaper. She got a bigger fleet, so everything works out that way. But I would love to try that at that large animal detection because I'm just really curious how that works. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Well, so here's the thing about safety is you hope you never actually have to test it.
yeah, well, yeah. No, I've ridden with Jill. We've tested it quite a bit. So number
No,
8.
we have not.
Number 8, which by the way, it's actually 9 because we did the RHOs 1A, 1B.
No, we did not do it. So Ram RHO 1, Ford Ranger 2,
Right.
Tacoma 3,
Uh-huh.
ID Buzz 4.
Tahoe.
Oh yeah, Tahoe 4, ID Buzz 5, F-150 Tremor 6, Volvo EX90 7. So we're on 8.
Right. So I guess I'm 8 is my last one. As I come up with something on my
No,
rear end.
you get 10 as well. I get 9.
I know. I'm running out of options here. I've only done 5, and I've already burned through 4.
Well, this is why I wrote down extras at the bottom because
Right.
I knew that you and I would have some things.
Right. So yeah. So apparently I need to. I have actually one more in the back of my head. Number 8 for me is going to kind of go back to Jill's comment earlier. However, a specific trim level of this Toyota Tacoma Trailhunter.
I don't know that you can do that, but okay.
I like it. $65,000. I don't like the price at all, but it is just cool. It's just cool. Power on board, the air down system with the built-in in the bed, the air down tires, the overall look of it, the bolt-on features, the LED lights in the front that you can change the light or amber depending on your choices. The powertrain, like you said, is good. The seating position is the number one question I get all the time. Seating position with the Tacoma is fixed. Fixed. Period. Move on. Like the new generation has no qualms like the last generation did. You don't feel like you're sitting in a bathtub. All that stuff's been fixed, and so yeah, I think I didn't like so much the double cab, like the TRD off road or the TRD Pro. I wasn't a big fan of that stuff. But the Trailhunter for me is really freaking good. I would never buy one just because it's too much damn money. I'd probably buy a lower trim level Tacoma, but I just thought it was I thought it was really good. I thought the other thing with that I want to point out is that I think Toyota really, really pay attention to the audience. I know the chief engineer. I can see his face escape my mind moment, but he spent a lot of time on Toyota forums. He spent a lot of time on the weekends, like watching videos and watching stuff people were doing in Tacoma. So he spent a lot of time. Sheldon Brown. So he spent a lot of time looking at the Tacoma from a customer's point of view, and I think that was so refreshing. Brands tell me all the time, we listen to our customer, and I finally, frankly, find a load of crap. I don't think they do. I don't think they pay that much attention. You know, how many years Jill and I talk about GM seats being terrible, and they finally were like, "Oh yeah, in the new Acadia, we've made the seats more comfortable." Well, about la-di-da, about damn time. And so I don't think they listen to customers. They definitely don't listen to as many journalists out there. And I thought that was a really clear time that they listen to customers.
Yeah, and that was one of the reasons why I like Tacoma was on top of my list is because even in the base SR5 trim, like they listened to their customers and they've got like the details and the finishing touches like in every trim is just a little bit different. And they still have a manual transmission available in that vehicle, which is again why I could own the Toyota Tacoma. It's the only truck in 2024 that's still, or well, going into 2025, that's still going to have a manual transmission. And, I like the details. I liked the, and speaking to the Trailhunter specifically, I like all of the aftermarket features that are factory installed.
Right.
I think they did a really good job of reading the room and adding the features to the truck that they know their customers are probably going to add anyway. And so again, while the price is high, the fact that, you have all of these extras on there already, I think balances things out. Because I mean, somebody's going to buy that truck and spend $20,000 to outfit it the way that they want to. So, I mean, if you're saying it's $65,000, I'm like, it's actually a $45,000 truck with $20,000 worth of aftermarket parts added on.
That's a
So,
really good way to.
I
That's
think,
a really good viewpoint. That's really good. That's a solid viewpoint.
yeah, and I mean, I think that your point about the price is not spot on there because of all of the features that they've added. I mean, like I don't have it off the top of my head, but there's like lights, there's
Yeah, there's the ARB
there's
lighting. There is the old man emu suspension. There is the the bed rack on the sides. There are, I mean, there's a variety of things they've done to improve the usability of the truck. And one of the things you notice on my list is I'm a big guy for utility and how much you can make utility work for your stuff. Can you imagine a Rebel Rally with the Trailhunter? How great it would be to have all those features right there and have all the stuff
yeah,
equipped in the truck.
yeah. I mean, it would be amazing. I mean, that's why the RHO is amazing, is because of, we ran bone stock
Yeah.
and we didn't need like anything else. I mean, we had to have our own air compressor, but you know, everything was bone stock. So
Yeah, no, I think it's you're right. I mean, it's got a bunch of stuff bolted onto it. It's a tough price for me to swallow, but it is really damn good, and I love the overall look of it. I know bronze wheels gets a bunch of crap in today's online world, but I liked it. I just like the green. I like the. I was talking to Ram the other day about this, and I said, "What happened to a really good forest green color in the truck?" Like, I'm a big green truck kinda guy too. Green and blue, those are my 2 big things. And you used to be able to find these dark forest green trucks, and just maybe a little white line here and there, maybe a little chrome here and there, just would really pop. And so that to me makes a lot of sense. I really like that way to look at that truck is. Alright, so Jill, that's my number 8?
yes.
Yeah. Alright, what's your number 9?
Oh, so I have four remaining vehicles on here, and they kind of all hit about the same for me. Um, and so I'm just gonna go with the one that I originally put on there, because I thought it was really fun to drive, but still has some good functional utility, and that's gonna be the Genesis GV80 Coupe.
Okay, the Genesis GV80 Coupe, which I'm gonna pull some photos because again, Jill
People
picks.
people are probably not gonna be familiar. I think only a
Yeah,
thousand people watched my video, so
no. But I think it's good that you pull this stuff out because you're picking out things that this is the inside baseball stuff. This is stuff that people may not be looking for. And is this the one? All right, I
it's
know,
not
golf
this.
fan.
It's
Ta-
the coupe one, not the so type coupe in the yeah.
okay, this one.
Yeah,
Okay, was it the GV70 that Tiger crashed? Or GV80?
GV70, I think.
Yeah. So this is the GV80 Coupe. So those people don't know. Like I'm, I, my brain is a little bit messed up at the moment, but not very clear at the moment. So what is the GV80 Coupe?
So I mean, it's essentially the coupe version of the SUV. So this is the SUV GV80 has optional 3 rows. This is only a 2 row, and it has a really peppy powertrain. It is um, high end luxury esque. So the finishing touches are really nice on here. One of the models that I drove during the press preview had a navy blue interior with orange accents that I thought was just, it was stunning. I thought it like, I think it kind of, no, it was like, I think up, but yeah, like with the orange seat belts and I mean, it didn't have those seats in it. But it was kind of like that color pattern with the orange seat belts and just some really nice orange stitching. And so this is the concept, the Magma concept, I think.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't know. I was a little bit put off by the shape initially. I generally don't like egg-shaped vehicles, but I think that Genesis just really pulled off this shape better than other automakers have done. I really thought it was very sporty. It was fun to drive. It was, um, I don't know. For me, like, I really liked this vehicle. I like the grill. I like the little two slat for the headlights. I like the extra utility in the back. I liked I liked this car. I thought they did a really really good job with it. And when you look at comparable vehicles from BMW or Mercedes or, um, just a luxury grade, like this has all of the safety features, all of the, high end materials, heated and ventilated seats, nothing is an option. It's kind of a WYSIWYG. It's what you see is what you get. And that is what I really liked about this. Now, calling it a coupe irks me. I think I mentioned that in my review because somebody points out a four-door coupe. Four-doors coupes just kind of annoys me, but the vehicle itself I really liked.
And I will say, I have not spent enough time in Genesis vehicles at press events, or I should say, at association drives where Jill and I get together and there's like 20, 30 vehicles. Genesis is one of those vehicles, brands I actually walk more towards. I want to spend more time in. They have really done a good job. And they're the luxury brand of Hyundai and Kia. And
Hyundai. Kia likes to be by
Kia,
itself on an island.
right. But if you know much about Hyundais, they have really improved the quality. They've really improved the best warranty in the business. They have really improved everything about it, and so they really have done a step of the job. So I think that it's a vehicle that maybe gets overlooked by the BMW, Mercedes-Benz crowd of the world that has had that nameplate. But yeah, the raised noses. But if you're looking for a value and you want that luxury experience, which frankly, if you haven't been in a luxury vehicle, you have no idea what you're missing. If you want the luxury experience, it really is a good brand. And I've been paying attention quite a bit. They've really done a lot of good launches lately, a lot of good vehicles, and they have a good lineup. It's just a matter of getting people to desire to want a Genesis.
Yeah. But I don't know. It was one of those vehicles that was just kind of a standout for me. And I drove the GV80 SUV as well earlier this year, and because they refreshed it. But I don't know. There's something about Genesis that whenever somebody's asking me for a 2-row, 3-row SUV, I'm like, would you look at Genesis? Would you just consider it?
Yeah.
Because they're just really really nice.
Yeah, no, they really are. So I'm gonna go. Let's see. I'm a number 10 now. 9, 8, 9, 10.
Yes.
Yeah. And we're gonna do some bonus ones. I have a few bonus ones in my head as well that Jill has bonuses. I'm gonna go with the Ford Bronco Everglades.
Okay.
People talk to me all the time about Jeep Wrangler and Jeep Wrangler sales dying down. There's a variety of reasons for that. There's a Tavares issue and stuff we're learning that you'll hear the news recap later this week as far as Jeep restricting automatic transmissions only to 4xe. There's a lot of reasons for that. But the Bronco Everglades, I took the doors off and we drove it around. I want to say I had a birthday party in September. I turned old. And we drove around the monument and stuff with it. And I took multiple people in the vehicle and just drove around. The monument's a big rock by my house. There's a little, about a quarter mile, maybe a half mile road that goes on the top. You do a circle, come back around. And
Did
so,
you see your little hand thing came up?
oh yeah, it does. Yeah. So I have a new update. On my Google or my Apple computer, and it makes little emojis at times, which is really weird. But I drove a lot.
Actually need to give it a thumbs down.
I did let me do a thing like this, see if it does. Let's do it. But anyways, I drove it around quite a bit with different family members and friends and things, and everybody had the same thing to say. They're like, "Man, it's even with the doors off, it's quiet inside." I had doors off, top off, all that kind of stuff, and it was enjoyable. It wasn't weird to drive around, and it felt enjoyable. And then there's a one of the highlights of my year, which I still will check about for years later, was I took it out to my friend's ranch and was trying to film with it, and the horses would not leave me alone. So it turns out that the horses, there are no Broncos in the horses. I talked to my friend who's a horse person, and we talked about different things, but there was no Broncos. But it was kind of funny how the horses that could be considered Broncos won't leave the Bronco alone. And I literally had to yell at the horses to leave. to be able to film. I drive away to get away from these horses, and then I completely messed it up. I forgot to do the walk around exterior. So about a week later, I had to drive to Cheyenne to my friend's place, Aaron Turpin, and he had gotten that Bronco the week after I had it. So we had to go up on a piece of dirt and do a walk around. So it took me an hour and a half of driving to do a 4-minute exterior video because the horses totally screwed me up. So damn horses. But I just think the Ford Bronco, it just is so well done. And I know the Everglades came away and went back, and they brought it back again. Whatever. You don't have to go to Everglades packaging, but I just like the winch on. I like everything about it. Like it's really good. I think for what they've done with it. 55,000 at the price point. My friends and my family were like, "Wow, that's it." They assumed to be a lot more. Is what I want to say. So it was, to me, that's always a big hit. And in my area, especially during the summer, as soon as I get it, I clean part of the garage out and I take the doors and stuff off immediately because it's so much fun. It's such a good lifestyle vehicle in that I enjoy driving around for lifestyle, but I also like the fact it's not tough on driving on the road and things like that as far as the drivability of it. So I want to get to two things. So David kind of wants to know if you ever watched a show called Yellowstone. I'm going to go with no. I know Jill's TV watching habits, and she's not a big TV watcher. Roy's Place wants to know about, he's got a Chevy 2500 diesel Duramax. Love it. Any issues online with engine issues or concerns online? You know what? I've had friends have had those, no problems. I've had friends that have those, have tons of problems. They're really, to me, if you look for problems, you're going to find the problems. I don't see anything with that. I will say, do not do a tractor pull with that. That has some, I want to say the front knuckles or something like that are not very strong. I see a lot of people that actually destroy the tie rod ends, and the tire goes like this when they're going through it's not a very strong vehicle for that. So just don't do that. But just do your maintenance. The biggest thing I tell people all the time is just do the maintenance.
Yeah.
And don't overthink the maintenance. Don't overthink that I know better than that was, and I know better than that engineer does, and all kind of stuff. I see it all the time, and then they have a problem with it. So just do the recalls, do your maintenance, and you'll be fine. Just watch. The biggest thing with that is just make sure you watch your regen and your stuff. You can get a Banks iDash, which goes in the corner. It's a little small circle that goes in the corner, has data built into it. It'll tell you how much long between regens, that kind of things, how much def you have, how much you're using. Because the biggest thing with Duramax diesels and any diesels is the emissions equipment. So just make sure, keep it on that. Make sure you do a full regen. And the other thing too is don't idle that thing. It's a big issue with my area. I see a lot of guys idling the diesels, and I talk to diesel mechanics all the time, and they tell me the number one problem they have with diesel, the DPF plugging up, it doesn't get hot enough because people sit and idle it. So just drive it and like it and love it. Don't idle it. Don't do the old school diesel things. Don't listen to the old guys, and treat it as a new diesel. That's what I say with that. Okay, so we did those. So those are our top 10. So we're doing bonus round.
Okay.
Bonus round. We have 6 minutes. So okay. What's your bonus round? Bonus round is.
Do you want me? So I have 3 more vehicles that I had on my list. Do you want me to just say them and we discuss them, or do you want me to like?
Oh, go one at a time. Whatever you want to do. Go with all 3. Let's do it. All
right. So honorable mentions on my list were the Chevrolet Equinox EV.
Oh yeah, you know what? If that thing doesn't sell, EVs don't sell.
Exactly.
Under $40,000, was it 300 some miles of range? Really well done.
The only reason why that was off of my top 5 was the fact that it doesn't have Apple CarPlay, and I'm still pissed off about it.
Jill did a variety of videos on this that may or may not get us invites to GM events in the future.
May never get us invited back to GM events again.
And she's absolutely right. All right, so what else you got?
Then the Lincoln Nautilus.
Yeah, you did a road trip with that.
I did a road trip with it, and I was at the vehicle launch, and I really like that screen. I feel like you had some issues with it, maybe. Reflecting, was that one of the ones you had?
No, I had the Buick Enclave had a problem with that, and then I just recently had GMC. No, I just recently having the same problem. Anyways, yeah, I've had problems with these new screens reflecting in the windshield and on the side window. So Nautilus, I've not had a Lincoln.
Okay. But I love that vehicle, and everybody's like, well, aren't you distracted by all the screens? And I'm like, no, I think they are really well done. I don't think they're distracting at all. They're, just the right height so that they don't block anything. And I like the content contained in the screens. I like, the screen right in front of you cannot really be reconfigured, but the screens to your right, you have the ability to like swap a few like things in and out. So I really like the technology. I like the Blue Cruise. I think while Super Cruise from General Motors vehicles is still my favorite hands-free highway driving system, I think Blue Cruise is starting to come along, and I think they're doing a really good job with it. So that was the second vehicle on my in waiting list. And then the other vehicle that is on my in waiting list is the Ineos Grenadier Quartermaster. There's just something about that vehicle that I think is super cool. And I mean, it looks cool, it looks old school. It's a little bit quirky in terms of like how it steers, but like once you get into the steering, that vehicle is amazing off road. And the Quartermaster and then just the regular Grenadier, they are um, just. I mean, they do an amazing job off road. They do a really good job on road. Now the tech is just like it's like Frankenstein together. But I don't know. I like the vehicle and I thought it was really cool.
So Grant, who's a farmer friend of mine, wants to know what vehicle it is. Ineos is this. So if you haven't seen it, it comes in an SUV and a truck. There's two options. Unfortunately, the truck gets hit by the chicken tax, which means 25%
Yeah,
increase in price. So the SUV is like 76,000, trucks like 96, something like that.
yeah, it's
It's
significantly more
expensive.
expensive.
It's a very niche vehicle. It's very old school. It uses a BMW inline V6 engine, inline six engine. Excuse me, not V6. Is it inline or V's?
Inline. I'm pretty sure
Inline.
inline.
And
It's been a while since I've driven it.
yeah, it's a fun, different vehicle. The interior is what has always got my attention on this. I'm gonna pull this photo up. It looks like a airplane cockpit. If you've ever been inside of it, it's very unique, very quirky. Jill is a huge fan of the toot button.
Oh yeah, the toot. That was so much fun. Toot.
It's got two horns, and
Yeah.
it's got a regular horn, and it's got a toot button. And the toot
Hmm.
button is literally designed for cyclists. It's literally
Yeah.
designed. It's like, excuse me, and then
Yeah.
yeah,
Hi, watch over here. I'm here.
yeah.
Yes. What Gene said. Yep. You've
We
got
had
the
to,
hi, and then you've got the move.
yeah. So that's the one that you will see. I've seen them here and there a little bit more. There's a couple that I think in Cheyenne now. It's a unique choice. It's the old school. And it's got what we call it was a knob and something for the steering wheel. Whatever. It's as far as steering.
Oh yeah. And it's the same kind of steering that you actually have in the Wrangler. But it needs to be tightened up, I think, just a little bit. But
Right.
I forget.
I forget the yeah.
Yeah, the actual yes.
So the bonus one for me is a Lexus RX 450h.
Okay.
The RX is just such a great size vehicle, and I really like what they did with the RX for this generation. I had the 450 a couple weeks ago, and reliability, quality, price point, but it's expensive. I think it was $76,000 for a two-row SUV.
Okay.
That's a lot, in my opinion. But I found it very functional. I thought it was really good, and I really enjoyed my time with it. Honorable mention would be the GMC Acadia. Big fan of that, and the Buick Enclave. Although I did have the issues, the reflections on the dash, and the story is the dash reflected up on the windshield and also on the driver's side window. Yeah, recirculating ball steering. That's what it was.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave. So it bothered me. My dad actually is looking at the Buick Enclave, and he's like after me to publish a video, which again, it's in the queue. I haven't been very good about publishing as far as editing. I have two videos actually in the queue. I just need to publish. But yeah, I thought those were honorable mentions. I like the way the GMC Acadia is the setup, the interior better, the seats are better. The Buick Enclave, the same idea. The Buick Enclave was really pretty. Jill and I, for a couple years ago, we talked about the difference between like men being like cute or handsome or something.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Buick Enclave is just pretty, if that makes sense. It's not. I wouldn't call it cute. It's pretty. The way it looks and the way I had this really interesting like purple color to it, and it just was
Okay, so
pretty.
like the song that's going through my head right now is all the pretty girls walk like this, 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 this. It's
Yeah,
pretty.
so it just was pretty. So those are kind of my honorable mentions. I'm thinking about the year overall though. Like you went to Sweden, and then you were in Denmark. Well, you're in Denmark, or was it
I flew to Copenhagen and we drove over to Sweden. Yeah.
right? So, and Sweden's still on my bucket list, but I need more than a couple days. I need to be there for about a month. Um, so you have done what you do 2 international trips this year? Just was it
Just
just
one.
one? Just one?
I took a vacation internationally.
You're right.
That was my
Yeah,
second trip.
you're right. So yeah, you did a lot of air miles. I didn't do as nearly as many, which I'm fine with too. RHO is coming next year. Will be more epic, as Gene says. I have some big thoughts for next year. I'm hoping that some of our technical issues on the website have been fully resolved. We're still dealing with some issues with the Googles and things. We're doing the YouTube channel is strong and the business is good. I feel like I'm doing a State of the Union address with the president or something.
You need to be a little bit more like this with your hands if you're
Oh yeah.
doing State of the Union then. Yeah.
Yes, and hats are coming. Hats are coming. Tim talked about hats. Hats are coming. I do need to. There's a new company I want to try out, and I just need to pull the credit card out and just buy a bunch of hats. And they're going to be expensive. I'm probably going to take a bigger loss in these hats than I have my other hats I bought over the years. But there's some flat bill stuff. Quality is really good. They do have Jill sizes, which I checked with, and so what style did I pick? I'm gonna I have a couple different versions. I'm gonna probably order 2 or 3 different versions of this. So kind of go from there. Yeah, I'm gonna go from there. But that's kind of what we have for you tonight on this year-end recap of the Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk business stuff top 10 things. All right,
Yes.
Joe. What else do you have to wrap the year up?
Golly, I feel like so I've been essentially sick for the last 2 weeks and I just want to sleep all the time. So I am so far behind on pretty much everything in my life at the moment. But I have a Ford Mustang Mach-E coming next week for Christmas. And so I'm going to do a cold weather range trip in the Mach-E. So look forward to that. And there's a vehicle that I wanted to put on our list, but I haven't had the opportunity to drive it yet. But I think it would have been on my list if I had the opportunity to drive it, and that's the Nissan Kicks, and I have that for New Year's.
There you go. I have a 10-day press loan of a Mercedes-Benz E-Class wagon in brown. I asked him if it was a manual because that is the trifecta of the auto journalist.
Yeah, wagon, brown, and manual. That would in fact be the auto journalist trifecta.
So if you don't know this, it's a joke with the auto journalists that a lot of journalists love this wagon idea with a manual transmission and brown. There's a whole like brown cars appreciation thread on different things, and so yes, I just was laughing about that. So I have that for 10 days until I fly to Texas or Louisiana, hopefully, to get my truck. That's kind of where I'm at. So hopefully next year we have a new truck, we have new hats. I will be sending a hat to Ford. The people have said to me I need to send Jim Farley a hat, and I think that does make some sense. I just got to buy some hats. It's gonna take some time to get that going. So I'm a little behind the ball on that one because year end. I have family. I have Christmas. I have stuff going on and things like that.
You have a life? I don't believe you.
I know. I just deer hunt all the time. That's all I do. So yeah. All right, there you go. That's what we have for this week on our live stream. We'll do have more live stream next year. I know that Jill's a fan of them, and I just need to get over it. So I will do that. I will man up, take that to the team. We will have more live streams next year. We'll have one more news recap happening probably this Friday, and then that'll be it for the year, which sounds weird to say. But that's
I'm like, where did this year go?
I know. I'm like, I can't believe
fast.
Christmas is next week.
Are you done with your shopping?
I am. Everything is wrapped in the tree.
Yeah, I just got my wrapping paper today.
So there you go. From all of us to you, again, thank you for watching. 50 million views this year. was a huge milestone for both of us, and Jill was a big part of that. And I appreciate coming to the website, appreciate being in the forums, appreciate everybody doing to support the channel. It's been a great year. It's been a great time to keep things going. And yeah, go Lions of all things. Merry Christmas, everybody out there. Happy New Year. And we will see you down the road.